Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Hannah and this is Jar of Fireflies. Here I make videos all about my life as an Orthodox Jewish homeschooling mother of 4. And today, it's Thursday, so I'll be taking you along for a day in my life with a lot of Shabbat prep. Before we get too far into today's video though, I want to give a big thank you to today's sponsor, Dreamy. You guys, I finally did it. I finally got one of those vacuums that runs around on the floor without me having to do anything. It is amazing, and I'm going to tell you guys all about it. Vacuuming is something that I do multiple times a day, so I am so excited for how much this vacuum is going to be able to take off my plate because I can just turn it on and it's going to go and do its thing. I got the Dreamy X40 Ultra and it is so cool. It has this side reach technology, meaning that it extends to get those corners really good, and it extends to get those spaces that you think it couldn't reach, like that awkward space underneath the kitchen cabinets. It's got powerful Vormax suction, so it is picking up all those crushed tortilla chips and bits of cereal, and of course, dog hair and dirt. Its base station is incredible. It self-cleans, including drying, and it has a 3.2 liter dust bag, so cleanup is a breeze and doesn't have to be done all the time because this little guy auto empties at the station. I can even program it by setting up no-go zones so it doesn't get too close to my dog's favorite napping spot, for example. It already has technology to avoid objects, which is super handy in my home, let me tell you. And I can also create detailed maps so it can get quick and efficient cleaning done. Speaking of pets, it also avoids my dog when it cleans. It can detect my sweet Bella and take obstacle avoidance with its Clean Genius management. The Clean Genius management also automatically identifies what type of room it's in and recommends the best cleaning strategy, giving me a very personalized approach to cleaning. Of course, I have left you all of the information for this vacuum down in the description box below, so check it out. And if you're in the market for one of these guys, I highly recommend. That's right, folks. Today is Thursday. We are going to have some fun today. Me and the kids were going off to play at a playground this morning with some friends, so that'll be fun. So I can hang out with my friends, they can hang out with their friends. Yes, it's early in the morning and they're already awake, and that is okay. Well, half of them are awake. There are 4, so half are awake, half are asleep. But anyways, we're having fun out here this morning, and that's what matters. Okay, so, wow, what do we have to do? Today, I wanted to start getting ready for Shabbat, and I can do the rest tomorrow. I like to kind of split it up. I don't like to do it all in one day. I feel like that's too much, too overwhelming, especially because now I'm baking a lot of this sourdough bread. However, I did get some long baskets for my sourdough bread. They should be coming later today, I hope. And I have another cast iron pot that's longer, so I should be able to bake 2 bread loaves at the same time this week. So that should make a huge difference on the amount of time I'm spending baking on Friday afternoon. But I do need to go ahead and make that dough today so that it's ready for me to use tomorrow. So let's head in and get started on that, and then we can work on everything else. Step is apron on. I tend to get so messy when I'm dealing with all of the flour and the bread stuff. So yeah, apron on. Okay, now to gather my things. I keep my kitchen scale right here. It's super handy for sourdough bread because I do measure things to the nearest gram. And then I grab a plate so I can put my huge tub on top of the scale and still be able to see the numbers on my scale. Okay, so there we go. I'm adding in my starter right now. Because I'm doing 6 loaves, I need 750 grams of starter. All right, then I'm just going to zero out my scale once I've got all that starter in there, and I can add in my water. I need 2,205 grams of water. Okay, now it's time to mix those first two ingredients. I'm using, I forget what you call these whisks, but it's one of those whisks that everybody uses for sourdough, and I'm just gonna mix that until it has a milky consistency. Okay, now I can add all of that back onto the scale, zero that out, and then add in my flour. I need 3,000 grams of flour for my 6 loaves of sourdough. So once I've got that flour in, I can just kind of push that scale aside, and then I'm going to start mixing here with my hands. By the way, I am using the Ballerina Farms sourdough recipe. I've just increased the amounts to do the 6 loaves. Her recipe, I think, is for 2. So I'll link to her in the description box below for you guys. All right, so once I've gotten that all mixed well, I've got an actual dough formed. I'm doing the separating of the challah. This is a Jewish thing. I have talked about it before in a previous video, which I will link to as well in the description box below. I've got a lot more information about that there. All right, so now I'm just going to cover this with some plastic just to keep bugs out, that sort of thing. And then I will let that sit for about an hour and a half to 2 hours. Okay, so at this point, it's been a few minutes. That is pretty much done. I set it on the broil settings. That burns it pretty quickly. So I will pull that out here in a few, and then once that cools down, I will wrap it twice and dispose of that in the trash can. The dough in the meantime is right over there, and that is just going to sit there for an hour and a half. So here at about 8:30 is when I will add in the salt and water. 8:39, hour and a half, 2 hours. I used the Ballerina Farms recipe, by the way, so I will link to that in the description box below for you. She has a great little shortish video on that. Of course, there's a million sourdough recipes out there. I just happened to think that her video to explain was very simple and started using that. Okay. All right, the next thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and bake a loaf of sourdough for my family to eat today with some dough that I made yesterday. Yeah, we're turning into this like we're eating sourdough every day kind of family, and that is awesome. Also, my kiddo with celiac has started making his own gluten-free sourdough starter, so we're excited to see how that comes out here in the next couple of weeks as well. That's something we've been wanting to start for a while, and now that I've gotten the regular sourdough under control, we're ready for a new project. But really, it's his project. He's taking it on all by himself, and it is awesome. Okay, so I'm gonna get that other loaf of sourdough started, get this out of the oven, and yeah, by that point, maybe the other kids will wake up. By the time that I finish with all of that, it'll probably be time to get the kids ready to head out to the park. I'm not sure if we're doing the park or the creek today. It's been raining a lot. We've had a lot of storms here lately, big storms. It's been crazy. Honestly, let me tell you about this here real quick. So the storms, first of all, we had these big storms. Y'all probably heard about it on the news. They haven't been terrible near me, but this past week, they've been a lot worse. We've had some really high winds and things like that. And there was one day in particular where we had power outages. I still have friends without power, which is crazy. And what is it, Wednesday now? The storms were like a couple of days ago, Monday? Storms were Monday morning, like around sunrise-ish, dawn-ish is when the storms kind of happened. And then, so yeah, I still have friends that as of last night were still without power, and that was Wednesday night because today is Thursday. Stores, a lot of stores are without power. I tried to go to Costco on Monday after the storm, which was crazy because there were like massive trees just down, blocking the streets all over the place. Like no traffic because there weren't a lot of people out there driving, but there were just a ton of trees blocking multiple lanes and entire roads. I saw trees that had fallen on people's houses, all kind of crazy stuff. Our trees were okay, which is good because we have a lot of trees here around us in our neighborhood. We had a couple of branches down, but nothing significant. And yeah, that was pretty much it for us, which was good. I was happy about that. But anyways, I went to Costco, and when I get there, like it's not open, and it was definitely past the time that it should have been open. So I called, I finally got hold of a person inside, and they basically said they were out of power and their system needed to reboot. They had no idea how long it was gonna be. And so I waited a little bit, and then I just ended up going home. Apparently they opened up at some point during the day, but then they had to close down early because they were still having issues. I tried to go back the next day, and I did my shopping, which was awesome. I checked out. as I'm walking away from the checkout counter, all the power shuts down. And when I got to the front to walk out, they were sending everybody away, telling people, please don't come in the store. We can't help you. Wow. So glad that I got my groceries because we were out of a lot of stuff. And then just whole shopping centers in the area have been down, including our kosher grocery store, which has a lot of people very stressed out about Shabbat this week, because if you don't already have like meat in your freezer, like what are you gonna do for your meat for Shabbat? Like my normal cooking plan usually involves going to the store, the kosher grocery store, and buying a few things each week, whether it's like the barakas from the frozen section, or a loaf of gefilte fish, some fresh chicken for some schnitzel, or like something. And like milk. We are almost out of milk, and I'm not gonna be able to buy more milk because they've literally had to throw away, is what I've heard, they had to throw away all of their perishables. They're not selling any perishables right now. I'm glad I heard about this before I went down to the store, but yeah, that's interesting. So I'm hoping that the other kosher grocery store in town it's farther away from us, but I'm hoping that it's open and functioning. And I don't know. So we may end up going to the grocery store later. I'm going to find out. Mr. Firefly is going to be near there later today. So I've asked him, can you go in and at least check it out? And if they have milk, just buy it. I'll come get it from you. And yeah, we'll see how that goes. So hopefully we'll get some milk later, because otherwise I don't know what I'm going to do about my coffee. I know there's tons of milk replacements. I don't like them. Okay. So anyways, it's been a little bit crazy with just so much stuff being shut down and just not functioning, you know, as far as like stores, and not even just grocery stores, like all kinds of stores. They are working hard to clear the roads. The roads are pretty much cleared, but yeah, we can see the city like running around trying to take care of everything. It's a lot, you guys. So, okay. So anyways, that's been like our adventure this week. But Baruch Hashem, everything is okay. We are okay. Our stuff is okay. Like everything is okay. Everybody we know is okay, other than our friends who are still without power as of last night. So, and they're doing okay too, you know, they just don't have power. Okay, so anyways, that is the situation here, and baby Firefly is now over there playing in the sink, so I'm gonna go help him get out of there and do some dishes and all that sort of thing. But anyways, I'm gonna get this sourdough also in the oven for our family to eat today, and yeah, just kind of keep going with everything so that we can get out of here and go to the park here in a bit. Okay, so you're kind of getting the full cycle of sourdough in this video, but basically what I'm doing is I have some dough that I prepared yesterday so that we would have bread for our family today and tomorrow, and this dough that I prepared earlier in the video is for Shabbat. Okay, so anyways, I went ahead and put my pot in the oven and preheated that to 450, and that's gonna get my cast iron pot there all hot as well. Now I've pulled this dough out of the refrigerator and I'm scoring it so that I can get it into the pot once it's all warmed up. I have a few minutes so I can make fun designs on it. I pretty much always make fun designs when I'm doing sourdough because I find it to be very, very fun. Just a neat little creative outlet. All right, after I have finished with that and the oven is done heating up and that pan is nice and hot, or pot, whatever you want to call it, I pull that hot pot out of the oven, and then I can add that sourdough dough into the pot, put the lid back on, and then I will put that back into the oven where it will cook for 30 minutes, and then I will take the lid off and cook it for another 15. All right, and here is that finished loaf ready for my family to eat with sandwiches, toast, or whatever else we feel like eating with our bread today. Okay, now we're ready to come back to the bread. It's a little bit after 9 o'clock right now, so it's been over an hour and a half, but not more than 2 hours. And what I'm going to do now is add the salt. And I need to add 72 grams of salt and 152 grams of water. And that water is really just to help get that salt dissolved in the dough. I'm gonna mix that together, and then I'm just gonna cover the whole bin and put it in the fridge. And then we can go to the park. Okay, let's do this. Okay, so that is now in the refrigerator where that will just sit until tomorrow when I will be ready to shape those loaves, put them in those little baskets, put them back into the refrigerator again till I'm ready to bake. But that is all happening tomorrow. If you want to know what that is like, I did it in a previous video, which I will link to down below. So sourdough is not a one-day process in this house. Okay, so what we are doing now we are ready to head out to the park with our friends. I think we might actually even be right on time, which is pretty fantastic. And I put together these little snack things for the kids. I bought these little kind of like a homemade Lunchable box off Amazon because y'all know I'm like obsessed with these little containers for the kids. So I put blueberries in one section, cheddar cheese in another, grapes in another, and pretzels in another. I meant to put hard-boiled eggs in there instead of blueberries, but I ended up totally forgetting about them, and I already had the blueberries in there, and I was like, I am not gonna dump those out. So the blueberries are staying, and we'll probably have egg salad sandwiches for lunch instead. Okay. So I'm just gonna have all the kids fill up their water, grab their little Lunchables, and we'll head out to the car and go play with our friends. Okay, so we've been here at the park for about half an hour. It's starting to sprinkle on us, just like a little light sprinkle. And we've been hearing thunder for pretty much the whole time that we've been here. So I don't know how much longer we're gonna stay, but the kids are having fun and we're gonna get whatever outdoor time we can. All this weather is making it so hard for the kids having to stay inside this long. They're getting a little wild at home. So I want them to get out their energy here so they can just calm down the rest of the day. We can get a little schoolwork done, a little bit hanging out done. Anyways, we'll take what we can get. Okay, so it is now raining and storming here, or at least it's about to be storming big. We started to see flashes of lightning and there was a lot louder thunder. It was no longer thunder in the distance. It was thunder here. So we are I'm going to try to go to the grocery store to get some apples. We'll see what the weather is like though. Okay, let's get out of here and see what happens. Okay, so I have pulled over and I'm just in a parking lot now because the rain is literally too intense. It's very low visibility. It's crazy. The water is high on the streets, it's a little bit. We're not far from home. We're pretty close to home. But I think I'm gonna stay here for a minute and let the rain kind of hopefully calm down, and then we'll head back out and try to make it a little bit further. It's a lot of rain, you guys. The storm is definitely worse here closer to home, so that's fun. That's okay. All right, we'll try to go home in a minute. Oh my word. Okay, we caught a break in the storm and we managed to get home, but we had to find a new way home because some of the roads were flooded out, and it was just wow. I have honestly not seen rain like this probably ever. This is some of the most intense rain that I have probably ever seen. And we were driving in it, which is not my favorite, but that is okay. So we are home now. We are safe. Everything is good. Two of my kids ended up going off on a play date. So they left the park with other friends of ours, and I will get them later. So I'm just home with two of them, and we're gonna make some sandwiches here for lunch and just kind of chill out today. I'm really not even sure what the rest of the day is gonna be at this point, because my plan was to go to the grocery store on the way home from the park and pick up some things to make some more side dishes for Shabbat. However, with this storm, we did not do that, and now I'm not really sure what I'm gonna do. I mean, I did prep that dough for tomorrow, so that's good. But I'm not really sure what else I'm gonna do. So I don't know. I'm gonna get some food in my belly and then we'll go from there. So I'll check back with you guys after we eat some lunch. Also, I got milk. I am so excited. A friend of mine was going to a grocery store in a different part of town and they did have milk. It was the one that I didn't want to go to because it would be a much farther drive for us than, right around the corner. So very excited to get milk, because now I can drink coffee this weekend. And she got me two. So I'm gonna put these away and make lunch. Okay, so we just went into the grocery store and picked up a couple of things and it started storming again. So I'm gonna go pick up the other two kids and then we're gonna head back to the house. It is literally now pouring rain. So yeah, we got out at just the right time. Okay, it is time to go ahead and make that apple kugel because we did at the store get the apples. So I'm gonna peel those, chop them up, get them in here. I feel like I've shown how to make apple kugel on this channel a bajillion times before. It's essentially an apple crisp, but we call it apple kugel so we can serve it as a side dish on Shabbat and nobody complains, especially me. So I'm gonna throw that together real quick and I'll just show you guys the finished product. Okay, I've got it done and ready to go into the oven. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that in there. It's gonna bake for an hour. Hopefully during that hour I can get baby Firefly to sleep, but I make no promises. Okay, so Mr. Firefly just called me. Well, first I should say baby Firefly did not take a nap. There's about 15 minutes left on the apple kugel, so I'll show you guys that here in a second. Okay, so Mr. Firefly just called. Some friends of ours are still without power, and so they have asked if they could come to a meal by us on Shabbat if we have space. I said, of course we do. We already have guests for Shabbat lunch, so this is just more people. So yeah, now the pressure's on for tomorrow to figure out some more stuff to cook, probably. So but we will make it work and we will figure it out. Okay, so baby Firefly, like I said, did not take a nap and he's very clean now and it's almost time for me to make dinner. I can't film anymore. Family's coming first. I gotta go and just kind of deal with this situation and not add the stress onto myself of also trying to film. But I will clip in a little picture right here of that apple kugel when it's done. Okay, so that's the apple kugel. So that's it. That's what I got. I made the potato kugel yesterday. I've got the dough ready for bread. I've got the apple kugel in the oven, and I'll just be cooking all day tomorrow. But I won't have to film because I filmed today. So it will be a lot easier to cook everything tomorrow. So, all right. Thank you again so much for being here. As always, I super appreciate it. Don't forget to check out all that information that I left you about my awesome new vacuum down in the description box and in my pinned comment below. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up, hit that like button, and drop me a comment down below. Just let me know how things are going. All right. With that, we are done. I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you in my next upload.